Good evening, everyone. We would like to welcome our 2023 AT&T Byron Nelson winner, Jason Day, to the Media Center. Jason, congratulations on picking up your 13th win and second here at the AT&T Byron Nelson. We're going to start off with some initial thoughts on capturing that win.
I don't know how to explain it. It was, I came into the week after missing last week's cut, and I was kind of fed up with having to go over like a lot of technical thoughts and with my swing. So I just decided, I'm just going to go out and just try and play some golf. And the first 3 days were great, and then I was really calm. I was saying, earlier I was really calm. Last night, and I woke up, had a great sleep, and just things felt calm again. For some reason, I just thought that I was going to win the tournament. I just don't. It's easy to say that now because I won it, but that's just, for some reason, it was just, I had this sort of calmness about, and had a really good warm up this morning, and I felt good. It's weird because when you're playing golf and you're in the hunt or around the lead, sometimes there's moments in your round that you think, kind of not my time. And I really never had that thought at all this week. Even in the last round, I was just kind of plodding along, and I got a couple early, which was nice, and I just felt like you just had to press. And funny enough, you have to shoot 9 under to try and to win a tournament, which is kind of crazy because I do remember back in the day, Charlie Hoffman shot 9 under to beat me, and it's nice to be able to finally do that and win one. So.
And post-round, when speaking, doing some media, we're getting a little emotional. How much does this win mean to you, especially it being on Mother's Day?
Yeah, it was, I was in tears, for a little bit there, and to think about, what my mum went through from, 2017 on to her passing last year, and then to know that, like, it was very emotional to go through and to experience what she was going through. Then I had injuries on top of, all of that going on in my life, and to be honest, I was like very close to, calling it quits. I never told my wife that, but I was okay with it just because it was a very stressful part of my life. But Ellie, she never gave up on, me trying to get back to, the winner's circle again. She just always was pushing me to try and get better. And yeah, I don't know, it's just, it feels strange to be sitting here. I don't know how else to explain it, to go through what I went through, and then to be able to be a winner again and be in the winner's circle is very pleasing. And I know that there's been a lot of very hard work behind the scenes that a lot of people haven't seen, and but that's just part of the competition, part of the journey, and trying to strive to get better. And it's nice to be able to get my 13th win.
I'm going to go ahead and open up to media. For those who have a question, raise your hand and we will get a microphone over to you. We'll start off here in the front. Brent.
Yeah, Jason, some of us are actually old enough to have been around when 22-year-old Jason Day won over at the Four Seasons. I wondered, knowing what you know now, what do you think 35-year-old Jason Day might tell that 22-year-old Jason Day?
Oh man, I wish I had the experience I have. I mean, it's just to be patient. That the career is, especially in golf, it's not like, golf is a strange sport because you can't perfect golf. It's you're going to have a lot of highs and a lot of lows, probably more lows than a lot of highs. It's very difficult to win on the PGA Tour. It's very difficult to win a tournament in general. If I was asking myself a question, or my future self, I think the advice that I have to give myself is just to be patient, always strive to try and get better. And it's mainly about the journey. just trying to better yourself, not only on the golf course, but outside the golf course as well, and growing and learning and just trying to be a better person, I think is where it's at. Because, at the end of the day, golf is a nice thing to have, and winning is a great thing to have. But the people around you mean probably are the most important thing, at the end of the day. At the end of my career, I hope that I have, a lot of good memories, but, I know that I have the correct people around me and my team, and know that putting my trust and faith in them is huge part of success.
And we have Paul up here in the front right. Either one, we'll pass the mic.
You mentioned kind of wondering if you'd play again. When kind of along this journey did that happen, and what maybe was the turning point to say, no, I want to keep going? Yeah,
it was like at least a couple of years ago when I was just struggling. So my thought process was to go, okay, what's my contract minimum that I have to play is 20 events. Can't practice Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday really. Like if I'm playing the Pro-Am, then I'll struggle to get through that. That's fine. I'll get through that. Get in, play Thursday, Friday. If I make the cut, great. If I don't, then that's a tick off the tournament list. To have that mindset, to even just think about the way that I was thinking, just to try and get through a tournament because of how much pain I was in, it's not a healthy way of playing golf in general, not a healthy way of just living in general. So, a couple of years ago, with all the stress that the stuff that was going on personally, it's just strange. All that stuff kind of adds up, and it's nice to be like feeling like I'm on the other side of that.
Did it feel like it was one hurdle after another? It's the back, and then it's vertigo, and then it just felt like keep kicking you when you're down?
The vertigo. Like funny enough, I've been battling an infection in my sinuses, and I didn't know that I was battling an infection over the last month and a bit, and that was causing a lot of fatigue, and I'm sure that was probably part of the reason why I had the vertigo. But you're 100% right. I mean, it felt like I would make some ground and I'd make big strides, and then, or it felt like I was making big strides. At that time, it was just small little steps, and then you'd hit something, whether it would be a health issue or a swing issue, just trying to build. And I said earlier, I was actually legit in regards to I would be up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about my golf swing, 1 o'clock in the morning calling Chris, saying, hey man, I've got this thought, what do you think? And then I'd go out and practice the next day. To be able to, because the first couple of years, first year and a half, we actually just worked on body motion to try and actually swing it in a way where I could actually feel decent. And now that I'm kind of going on, I feel like, the swing is moving in the right direction to the point where I can just go at it as hard as I want. And as I get older, the tour guys are getting younger. I feel like in the competition they're getting further. So, I don't know. It just it was one thing after another, and it's very easy. It's human nature to feel sorry for yourself and feel like the world's against me. But as the competitor, that I have inside me, I didn't want to allow that to be a negative on, or even a thought that I'd have to go through that. I'm just trying to push through it. And at some point when I was talking to a therapist that I was talking about, because I obviously are going through a lot of stuff, and you talk to a therapist about it, I kept on visualizing myself in the winner's circle again, and it was nice to be able to sit here today, a winner.
You had quite the shot on number 12 where you had the chip in for birdie that put you on top for good. Can you kind of walk us through what was going through your minds during that hole and that shot? Actually, to be honest, I was just trying to par it. I actually got a little bit unlucky with the hole prior, hitting a pitching wedge and hit the flag, and it ricocheted off the green.
Had a lot of good momentum going into that hole, just because I birdied 9 and 10, had a really good look at 8 and 7. But I chose a 56 because I know that the greens were a little bit softer. That if I landed it kind of very similar to where I would land a 60, it would actually roll up the hill. And that was one of those ones where you're like, okay, I was in the middle of the fairway. I said to my caddy, let's go chip it in. But you're saying that, but you're not really like thinking about it. You're just saying it just because you're kind of filling in the blanks. And yeah, I mean, I got up there and I'm like sitting there reading. I'm like, it's actually quite straight, and then I chipped it and it actually rolled in. So that was a nice kick in the right direction. Then I was sitting there going, okay, I need to birdie 14, I need to birdie 18, because they're 2 holes that you have to birdie. You know that the guys are going to birdie. So it was nice to get through that, and then the bonus was 15 to be able to get the birdie on 15. Hitting a 5-iron, just riding along of that hole on the correct plateau was crucial. Rolling that putt in was nice.
You spoke on being patient a lot throughout the week. With the rain coming down on number 18, how patient did you have to be on that closing hole to get that birdie there at the end?
It would have been nice to be able to have a second shot into the actual green. After my drive, I was sitting there going, okay, well, I'm forced to lay up now. And in my mind, I was sitting there thinking, like 80 yards would be perfect, just because I know how soft the greens were getting, and with all the constant rain that we had like throughout last night and into today, I felt like the greens were pretty responsive. And Luke told me that we're going to get to 80 front, and I'm like, okay, that's no problem. I hit it and I caught a flyer with my 7-iron, so it actually went a lot further than I anticipated, and we ended up with 82 yards, which was nice. So had the exact same shot on 6, hit a nice one there, and just kind of aimed it a lot straighter at the pin. And thank goodness it was like only this far. I mean, I was actually quite nervous over that part, and I just like so many things go through your head where you're like, oh man, what happens if you miss it? You know what I mean? But it's very easy to get ahead of yourself, but it's nice to be able to, hit it that close to where you don't have to think too much.
And just right down the row, we have Art.
Jason, you know better than most the up and down nature of golf. When you beat Jordan Spieth to win the PGA, and I think he was going for his 3rd major, and perhaps you're number 1 in the world, does that seem like a long time ago to you, or does that seem like ancient history, or does it seem like that's part of your when you were really at the very top?
Well, I mean, 2015 doesn't seem that long ago. 13 years ago feels like a long time ago with my first win here. But, I mean, it's obviously sad to think that Jordan wasn't able to tee it up, but I understand he was trying to prepare for next week. But, yeah, I mean, the highs and lows of golf is interesting. You definitely learn a lot about yourself through the lows more so than the highs. Obviously, I learned that I can handle the pressure still and focus, and I still got the game to win. But a lot of that, success today was based off a lot of the groundwork, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, that built, the game to where it is today, I can succeed on a level like this. So, yeah, I know that that delayed gratification is probably the best feeling of all time. Instant gratification is great, but delayed gratification is the best.
Go ahead.
Jason, as you stayed in contention through the weekend, did the Mother's Day thing kind of come to mind at all before today, kind of realizing that what could be, and did you maybe toss any thoughts up to your mom?
No, it didn't hit me until I looked at my caddy, and he had his back to me on the first green, and I'm like, oh, that's my mum's name. That's when it kind of hit me, where I was like, oh, yeah, that's because they asked at the start of the week if you wanted to put down a certain name, and my mum's name was it, and that's when it kind of hit me, was on the first green today. But I guess when you get in the heat of the battle, and you're trying to win a tournament, especially for me over the last 5 years, I haven't won one. You kind of quickly just go, okay, I've got to compartmentalize my priorities here and focus on trying to win this golf tournament. At least get myself into contention to win it.
We'll go back over to Paul.
Were you looking at the leaderboard? I think when Marty kind of made that double, bunch of people back in the tournament at that point, just 10, 15 guys just within a few shots of the lead. Did you kind of realize that at that point?
Yeah, I think he was 20 under at one point, or maybe on 7. Did he double 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after 7, I was looking, and I saw 20 under. I think I was going through 9 at that point. And I think I talked to you yesterday about like just getting into contention on Sunday, getting through the first 9 holes and seeing anything can happen on the last 9 holes. And that was my main point. It's like, okay, well, if we can get I didn't expect to, I thought, okay, so anywhere in the, 6 under or more, that'd be great. I think if you get in the 20s, that, you give yourself a shot. To shoot 4 and still, well, at that time was tied lead after Marty doubled 8. That's when I'm like, okay, well, now we're into the final 9 holes. Anything goes. Let's try and create some momentum. And it was nice to be able to, through the middle part of my round, get a couple of those birdies, and then that good chip in on 12.
Were you using a different putter this week, or recently? It looked
So
like
I was using a Scotty Cameron, and then I changed to one of my old spider putters, TaylorMade spider putters last week. Missed a cut, and then.
So that's the same one that you've used previously?
Yes. Yep.
We have time for just a few more. We'll go back over to Brad, then microphone back to Matt.
Chris, of course, is based here in Dallas. What would you say the biggest thing is that he's done for you?
When it comes to coaching, it's not so much about, it is about the technical aspect and trying to get your game better, but it's more about a supportive role, knowing that you are doing the correct things and being able to not only visually see, the flights that you want and especially on video, see the swing change dramatically over the last couple of years. For him to be more than just a coach and be a friend, be someone that can support me in a way that is on a deeper level. I mean, we're growing together in regards to stuff off the golf course. He goes through things just like I go through things, and we're trying. It's amazing. We were just talking about this, how golf has led me down a path of trying to better my life off the golf course. Whether that's through the mental stuff that I'm trying to do, the physical stuff that I'm trying to do, and it's funny because when you do go down that journey of trying to better yourself in that sense. Once you start to unravel things, it's like an onion. You start peeling back things, and then more things come up, and you got to try and connect the dots. I mean, with this vertigo stuff that I've had going on, and trying to get a hold of my health and all these injuries, and it's just one thing after another, as we alluded to earlier. It's just you got to, it's just more of a journey. I don't know how else to explain it. It's, I'm just trying to, better my golf game and also better my life, and hopefully live more, in the present and just enjoy myself more often.
And we'll finish up with final 2. Matt, go ahead.
Jason, I've heard you asked several times this year about what you would need to do to finish the job and get the win, and you've almost seemed hesitant to let your mind go there early in the week. I'm just wondering if this will free you up to kind of ride this wave of good play that you've been having and maybe mentally get you into a better place on the golf course.
I don't know. I mean, I hope it does. I know that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done with the swing to the point where I want to take it. I know that the game is good enough to win, but it'd be nice to be able to build a game to have it be more of a dominant game, to be able to win multiple times a year and not just once. So the work never stops. I'm gonna probably most likely, it depends on what I'm gonna do. Actually, I don't know if I'm gonna fly out tonight or tomorrow, but most likely probably get in and take tomorrow just to, let things settle. Realize, that I've done something good today, and then just reevaluate things and talk to my team and see how we can improve and move on from there. I've always been a little bit hesitant, at the start of the year, and you've obviously noticed that. But it just, I didn't feel like my game was, at that time, was to a point where I could actually win. But, after this week, I know that I can win. There's a few subtle things that I have to change, technically, to feel like I can actually come out and dominate and play very consistent golf, like the likes of Rahm and Scotty Scheffler, that's playing some tremendous golf, and obviously Rory as well.
Perfect. That's all the questions we have.
Thanks.
Jason, again, congratulations, and thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.